has not come to a conclusion yet, which is good. It's good to discuss, understand, clarify, and proceed, no doubt. We know it through the spiritual experiences. So, now to the topic of today, delimiting the mind. Also this I heard now, when you gifted me, to give me the presentation, you also mentioned Ramana Maharshi as one of your icons with which the inspiration is started. So these are all quite interlinked. And this is coming near my nose. And it's being a little extra long. You can hear my breathing. Last, before I end, I will solve you the mystery of what Shri M means. Because there cannot be a human being called Shri M. So I'll discuss that later. But let's go into delimiting the consciousness. Somebody asked Swami Vivekananda, is meditation hypnosis? Do you hypnotize yourself to believe that something is happening to you? And Swamiji said, actually, meditation is not hypnosis. It is a process of de-hypnotizing the mind. You know, when there is hypnosis, there is also de-hypnotization. He said, from childhood, you have been hypnotized into believing that you are so and so, a limited human being with a name and form, and beyond that you don't exist. He said the essence of Vedanta is to de-hypnotize yourself from this hypnotic understanding that has been given to you that you are a limited individual confined to one point. When you de-hypnotize, then you uncondition your mind. Look, our mind is conditioned by our birth, by genetics, by the place we were brought up in, environment, various factors, education, the language we speak. Very interesting. Somebody may speak in English but actually think in some other language. So it's conditioned by all these factors. The understanding of this ancient wisdom that has come down to us from the Upanishads, which is Vedanta, of course, is how to go beyond that and see that there is a self in you which is not conditioned by any of these factors. Now when it comes to that, no human being is different from another. Swamiji I keep quoting Swamiji, not because of the Ramkirtan Mission. One of the most interesting beings who were there on this earth, who did in 41 years of his life what 100 people could not have done in 100 years, and whose complete works are worth reading again and again. And I think after 25 years or 30 years, people might discover what he's trying to say. He was a man ahead of his times. So, once he said once in one talk in the United States that I'm a socialist. Somebody said, Swamiji, we thought you were a Vedantic, how can you be a socialist? He said, I'm a socialist because half a loaf is better than none. Then he said, but I believe in a brand of socialism which you don't understand. I said, what is that brand? He said, according to my experience and the wisdom that has come down to us from this ancient land, we are all sparks of the divine. All of us. No matter what our names are, where we come from, what race we come from, we are sparks of the divine. In the recesses of our heart, in the core of our being, the Jivatma is a spark of the divine. The Sufis call it the Ruh. It is the essence of your being. And if all of us have that essence of being, whether you know it or not, Yogis may have discovered it, others may not have discovered it. But whether you discover it or not, the yogi knows that this spark of the divine is in all human beings. And that spark of the divine is not different from or is an emanation of the supreme reality, which is the Brahman. Call it what you want. Some people don't even give it a name. In the Natha Sampradaya, to which I was initiated into, of course I broke out of those walls also. The Supreme Being is called Alak Niranjan. That means that which is ever shining and which cannot be confined to even words, aleka. You cannot even write about it, much less define it with words. This is the true essence from which we all are emanations and therefore sparks of the divine. Therefore Swamiji said, this is my socialism. I call it Vedantic socialism. Since all of us have the same spark, we are all equal. Whatever be the differences outside, deep down, in essence, we are a spark of the divine. Now, this is what we need to discover in daily life. No matter what you do, where you belong, which way you come from, when you see that, every human being becomes important. Forget about human being. Every living being becomes important. You wouldn't think of hurting or causing pain to yourself, right? So if yourself is in others, why would you do that? One. The other is, this is especially addressed to the young. Don't limit yourself to this little cocoon and say, I can only do this much. You can, if you break through that, you see infinite potential in every one of us. And that unlimited potential is the essence of divinity. There's an ancient mantra that comes from the Upanishad. Very interesting. We may chant it in prayers, but we don't think about it usually. Why do we not think about it? Unfortunately, Sanskrit is at a premium. Somebody came to me the other day in Madanapalli. Said, my name is some Sharma, something. I need a job, sir, I can't find a job. I said, why? He said, because I am a Sanskrit Pandit, nobody is giving me a job. This is the situation. The language in which the root knowledge of this country was written, and which knowledge is today studied in the West and all over the world. Why? Because it was taught in this particular language. It's a disqualification to be a Sanskrit. If you go to Berlin University, there are 2 chairs for Sanskrit. How many do we have? And it is not as if it's a religious language. I always tell people, remove that feeling that it is a religious language. Change the denominational aspect of it. Kalidasa didn't write about religion, right? What did he write in? What language? Aryabhata did not talk about Vedanta, mathematics. Which language was it? So, I'm not saying it's superior or inferior, I'm just saying that this is the root language. And since we have forgotten it, I've been trying to tell the government of India, at least have optional Sanskrit courses in all institutions. They can choose. Somebody doesn't like it, it's okay. You go a long way. And sir, doctor, you'll find such great medical texts in the Sushruta Samhita, Charaka Samhita. In fact, if you look at it, you'll see that what is now Ayurveda is only a small part of it. Allopathics also need to study. I think both have to contribute to this. Allopathy on one hand, for instance, in Sushruta Samhita, there are discussions on surgery. Ayurveda, there is no surgery now. So if we can combine the two, it would be a wonderful thing. That's my idea, and therefore Sanskrit. Anyway, why I said this is because this great mantra from the Upanishad, we hear it many times during functions, here, there. We don't know what it's saying. It's very funny because all Indian languages have 40 to 50% of Sanskrit. In Kannada, if I say Purna, do you understand? Yes, you do. So the mantra is Purnamada, Purnamidam, Purnat Purnamaduchyate, Purnasya Purnamataya Purnameva Vasishyate, which means the universe that we have today comes from that supreme completeness, Purna. Now, this, because in essence we come from that Purna, the human being's mind is always trying to become Purna. The whole world's advance and evolution is because we want to expand. Nothing wrong. We want to expand. Why? Because deep down in our consciousness, we have a remembrance of Purna. And we find that we are Apurna. We are not complete. We miss many things. We are limited. So we want to go back there, somewhere deep down. So if I study hard and become somebody, it's this inside thing that keeps beckoning me, become complete. But I find in my daily life that I am incomplete. So I do various things, even me, my journey. One day I realized I am incomplete. I need to complete myself. So my journey was different. Of course, I'm happy to say that I found something that is really complete. I could have gathered a lot of degrees and still remained incomplete. So that is Purna. So some people say, that is Purna, who cares? It doesn't matter. What is it to me? Now the good news, the second sloka, Purnamidam, this is also complete. But you say, no, but I'm not complete. I'm incomplete. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. So I have one car, I want three. I have one, but no, you can't say that about oil. So this desire of human beings which to increase and increase and increase is the movement of the mind towards that Purnata, not knowing that if you go deep within your consciousness, you are already Purna. If you go deep down into your consciousness, which happens only when the mind is completely quiet, is there something to do with this or there? I'm not it. Here's the answer. Sitting and touching her. I'm trying to touch, yes. So when the mind is quiet, now this is very difficult to achieve in this world, the quietness of mind. Somebody, no, it's nothing to do with the mic. Hello? Hello? Okay? Can you hear me at the last? Anyway, it doesn't matter. This is incomplete, so let's do it then. Better to switch this on. Hello? What did I say? Can anybody tell me where I stopped? No, after that. So, the fact is that if I look deep within myself, to the core of my being, I will find that deep inside me, the essence of Purna from which I have come is very much in my essence, which is the divine spark that is within. Hello? Okay? That's better. He has pulled out the Sushumna Nadi. So, this tendency to move towards perfection, unlimitedness, is because in true essence we are unlimited. And if we look close inside us, we find the spark of that unlimitedness in us, and freed from all conditionings, you suddenly discover Purnam Idam. This is also. Now this is something to be understood very carefully. Don't limit yourself. I'm saying this to the students. Don't say, I can do only this much. You can do much more, because inside you is an unconditioned being which cannot be limited by any circumstances. So if you have circumstances which limit you, fight against it with full force. Believe me, you can succeed. Don't say I don't think I can do higher. You can do higher studies. Why? The brain by its very nature has infinite potentialities. Forget about the Atman right now. And we know, if you ask a brain expert, he will tell you that for normal existence we need only 20% of our brains. What is happening to the rest of the parts of the brain which we are not required for us and which we are not used to? Where are they? What are they? This is the science of yoga. Yoga teaches us how to locate those centers which are not active and therefore delimit, unlimit the mind. This is the science. Now, while theoretically you can say Purnamada Purnamidam, or say with the Upanishads that I am not this, I am Tatvamasi, I am that. Theoretically we can say all this. Or as Ramana Maharshi discovered for himself by asking the question, who am I really? Am I this body or the mind? I am something beyond. Yes, theoretically we can understand. How do we touch it? At the end of every chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, you will read a sentence. It says, now you don't require much Sanskrit to understand this. Iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita. This is the Bhagavad Gita. Simple. Upanishads. It is the Upanishad. It is the essence of the Upanishad. And what does the Upanishad teach? Brahma Vidyaya, the knowledge of the Supreme Being. Purna. Right? Knowledge of the Supreme Being. It was alright till now. So, Doctor, we need to work on your sound system. Does it? So, okay. So, iti Srimad Bhagavad Gitasu Upanishadsu, knowledge of the Upanishad, and that is the Brahma Vidya, Brahma Vidyayam. But there is one word introduced in between, Yoga Shastra. Then comes Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvade. So the yoga word, Yoga Shastra, is introduced in between. Why? If you could understand directly the Upanishads without Yoga Shastra, nobody would have added, Vyasa would not have added Yoga Shastra. So Yoga Shastra